All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming over to blue. Downstage Dramatics is a spell, 2 cost with reaction speed, and repeat for 2, which reads draw 1. So obviously the idea of this is it's a 2 cost draw 1 spell for Jhin that you can at any point, ideally probably on the end of your opponent's turn, or rather when they're not looking to do anything too exciting, you then go, okay, cool, 4 repeat, banish this with Jhin, and then what you get to do after the fact is then draw 2 cards. So it cycles itself, you gain a bonus card, you trigger your Jhin, you get to do more things. It's all lovely magical Christmas land. I think this is a fine card, but I don't actually think this is super broken. But interesting enough, it is still like, if you want to do that, it's the same as doing consult the pages. So which is 4 for draw, but it has the hidden. This doesn't have hidden, but it lets you just decide early turns and just draw. But at the same time, you can do it for 4 and get the consult cost. It's probably actually a playable card. I just don't think it's anywhere near as busted as it really looks to be. Reaction does make it a lot better, but more than anything, I think this is gonna be more of like a 3. Reason being is it's not a card where you're like, oh my god, I'm really excited to play it. It's like, fine. It's a fine card. It's not breaking the bank, but at the same time, you're not super sad to actually play it. Other legends might like it a little bit more, but at the same time, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I like to think of this as a Jhin card, but you could also play this in really any controlling deck. Our next card is Dramatic Visionary. It's a unit from Ionia for 4 and 4 might, which has Death Knell. Predict 2. This is a limited card. This is good in your constructed deck. A 4 for 4 is pretty good, but you're probably not getting much more value than that. Now, don't get me wrong. This is an interesting card to see play in LeBlanc. But beyond that, it's not really doing a whole lot. You could look to play this in hook-based decks, so you could predict first, and then look to try and improve. If you see anything you like, then when you're like, oh, okay, well, my hook is now going to see this, and I'm guaranteed to see this. But otherwise, I think this is just going to be like a fun little value card for LeBlanc. But I don't even necessarily think LeBlanc wants to play this. Meaning, I don't really see where this is finding a home in Constructed. So I'm going to give it just a 1. It's not a bad card by any stretch of the imagination. But it's not like, oh my god, I must play this card. It's just fine. It's fine. And fine cards sometimes just never get played because there's so many other better things you can do. So, yeah, interesting one. Play this though in your limited deck. Our next card is Eclipse. Eclipse is a spell at reaction speed. Give a unit -4 might this turn. It also has Predict. This is better Smokescreen. This is just better Smokescreen outside of Kai'Sa. But this also actually lets you go to 0 might as opposed to Smokescreen, which just said up to 1. Change in design philosophy, definitely, with how Riftbound works. But personally, great in Diana, great in any blue-based deck where you're going to be interacting and comboing or just wanting to play defensively. But it's also very good offensively. Eclipse is just good. It's a good card. It's a 4. It's better than Smokescreen in a lot of spots. It also doesn't have the power cost, so that's why only Kai'Sa decks would realistically play this. Eclipse is good. Eclipse is good. Play Eclipse. It's a great card. I love Eclipse. I'm also not a complete Diana sicko fan, I swear. I swear. A little bit. Just a little bit. Our next card is Fate Weaver. It's a unit from Ionia. For 5 and 4 might, when you play me, look at the top 4 cards of your main deck. You may reveal a spell with the energy cost of 4 or more among them, and draw it. Recycle the rest. I'm playing a thing to get a thing, but the card itself that I'm playing is not particularly exciting for its cost. It also isn't really doing anything if I completely swing and a miss. It doesn't at least let me go, I can reveal a 4 or more and then maybe get something special. Maybe this gets a buff. Maybe something, right? Anything. Gains deflect, gains something, right? Anything. It doesn't. If I don't, it could just be a 5 for 4 and I still get to draw a card. But if you completely swing on a miss, which will happen sometimes, you will have a failure rate. You could just see units, and because it's only 4 cards, you suddenly just are looking very awkwardly and you don't do anything. In Constructed, you just don't want to build your decks to have that sort of fail rate. So Fate Weaver is not seeing. Probably okay in Limited, but beyond that, Ice Veiled Archer is a unit from Foliod for 2 and 2 might, which reads, when I attack, you may pay 1 to give a unit -1 might this turn. So, it doesn't actually specify that the unit has to be, it specifies that the unit has to be here to give the -1, and it's only when he's attacking. So, you want to be playing him in more offensive decks. The problem is, he gets outscaled very quickly in the game. So I look at him and go, well, you're pretty good. Do I want to play you over Plundering Poro? No. Okay. Well, what else are we competing with? Well, a lot of cards that probably are slightly better in that regard. So it doesn't draw a card. It doesn't necessarily improve my tempo state. All it's good is doing is attacking. If it also said, when I attack or defend, you may pay 1 to give a unit here -1 might this turn. Now, you could target your own units for some reason. I don't know why you would, but that's an option. I've gone back and forth trying to figure out where this fits in and how this works, and I just can't think of a good reason why I would play this over a bunch of other units in other colors as well as blue. So sadly, you know, when you do the theory test and nothing ever pops up enough times, or when you build a deck with it in, and then you go, actually, why would I not just playing this card? It goes, oh, just don't think this card is actually that surprisingly good. Maybe in a previous metagame before this, like in Origins, it might have seen a bit of play, but as it stands, it's a 1. There's just too many other good blue units at 2, so why would I play this over them? If I didn't have to pay, different story. But because you have to pay, kinda kills the card, sadly. It's a 1 out of 5. Our next card is Moonlight Affliction. For 7 energy at reaction speed, give a unit -10 this turn. So I'm just going to say how it is. It's a 1. It's not a 0. It's a 1. It's a fun card. It's a funny card. It's not a good card. Low-key a Lux card. Like, low-key a Lux card. But beyond that, it's funny. It's a funny card. It's a funny card that does a funny effect. But it probably isn't doing more than that. And I wish it was. It's a cool card, but you're not going to play this in any other deck outside of Lux. And Lux probably doesn't even play it. But it's fun. I like it. It's so expensive to do the effect. It's a funny card. It's a funny card. It's a limited card, but even then, it's not a good one either. It's kind of removable, but it's not. You have to work for it. So that's where we stand, ladies and gentlemen. Our next card is Riptide Rex. Rex has now died and gone to the he's died because he's ruined, but he's not from the Shadow Isles. I'm a bit confused. Anyway, our Sharky Boy is back, but now ruined for 6 and 1 power for a 6-month unit, which now reads Death Kneel, deal 4 to a unit. So I spend 1 less power, and he does less damage. I guess I can't get the full play effect, so it does work slightly better in LeBlanc. Yeah. I'm gonna give him a 1. If he does see play, it'll probably only be in LeBlanc, and it'll be a fun, little combo-y card. The problem is he is 6 for 6, so at least with 1 power, so it kind of does something. But with LeBlanc, you're gonna have to discard a card to make a copy of him, that's pretty good. That's 12 might, where you're going to be able to deal 4 to an enemy unit, and that unit can be anywhere. But if they kill the real one, and then your fake one doesn't actually get to pop and kill anything. Kind of unexciting, especially if your first one also doesn't trigger it to actually kill anything. I want to like him more, but if it doesn't have the synergy you need, it's not actually very good. Ruined Rex is a 1. I'm sad. I like the Sharky boy. Spectral Centaur is a unit from the Shadow Isles, and it's a spirit. For 6 and 5, cost 6 for 5 might. When another friendly unit dies, give me +2 might this turn. It's a 1. It costs a lot. Doesn't necessarily do anything. Doesn't have even any ready effects. And ultimately speaking, is really asking for you to work very hard to get 7, maybe 9 might. But you gotta have like a token strategy going. So it's like, oh, maybe Lilia. Maybe Victor. Maybe... No. Card's just not very good. No. Why am I working to get this sort of effect when I could just play better cards? So, it's a 1. It's fine and limited, don't get me wrong. Finding your pre-release, but beyond that, not very exciting. Our next card is Sprite Burst. Sprite Burst has one of the cutest artworks, so we're getting some cute artworks this set. Is a blue spell for 5, which reads, when you play 2 ready 3 might sprite units with temporary. So it's a Lilia card. It's also kind of a blue LeBlanc card. It's interesting. You're technically up on might because you get 6 might for 5. And realistically, there's a chance you'll lose 3 of it, but if you can get some combo synergies with Lilia, then you can get a bunch of sprites out. Sprite Burst is one of these cards where I'm like, I assume Lilia will play this, and it will probably only be played in Lilia, but it's probably going to be pretty good. But it really comes down to how good is the Lilia deck, and I just don't know that. So I'm going to give a tepid 2. I don't want to go too far and go, oh my god, this is broken. This card might be really good, but it also might just be way too janky, or only sees players like a 1 of or a 2 of, and it's like fine. It's like fine. In my head, I'm also thinking the Spirit Forge meta, and I'm like, where would this card sit in? And it'd be like, it'd be okay. It wouldn't like break the game. And with the bannings we just had, Fiora decks laugh at this card. They just go, oh, repost this. Like they just go, cool. Get Mighty onto a random unit, exhaust, make even more. Woo! Spin the wheel. Like I just don't. I don't. So yeah, Sprite Burst gets a 2. Our next card is Turn to Dust. Give a gear temporary. So blue-based decks which didn't have gear removal, which aren't many, now have gear removal. Cool. But if it's equipment, it still has to be detached before you can get that. So you still got to work for that one. Turn to Dust is a spell that reads 2 energy, give a gear temporary. Kill at the start of a controller's beginning phase before scoring. So some gear it's going to be really good on. But a lot of gear, it's like kind of unexciting, because if it's equipment, you gotta still get it rid off the unit. I think this is an interesting sideboard card, and that's at most where it will be. But I also think, compared to a lot of other cards that you could play, which is gear removal and hard gear removal in a lot of other colors, the question comes, why do I play this? What's the reason for me to play this? And I, in good faith, can't actually figure that out. So, I'm going to give it a 1. I'm open to be proven wrong, but I think there are just better cards that get rid of gear, and you don't have to jump through hoops of temporary. It doesn't have a power cost, which is kind of nice, but beyond that, I'm like, meh. I'm unexcited, but an effect like this isn't meant to be super exciting. Our next one is Chakram Dancer, which is Ambush, unit from Bilgewater, 3 energy for 3 might, which has Ambush, and when you play me, give other units here shield this turn. So, kind of interesting. Other units get shield, so they get bigger and you're protecting them. It adds +3 might, so you can do this at any point. It's only 3 for 3, so it's on rate. Chakram Dance is a very interesting card. It's far better in Limited, I'm not gonna lie. But if you're a hold strategy, it has some playability to it. So, for that said, I'm going to give it a 2. I doubt you're going to be playing this, but if you play it in the right spots, it's going to be pretty good. It is still like a worse Shen sort of effect, but there's something here. There's worse cards you could be playing, and no power cost does actually make this a lot more interesting. Present Strike is a blue spell, which costs 3 for 1 power and 1 power. At action speed, you may choose a battlefield and an enemy unit there, deal 4 to that unit and 1 to each other enemy unit there. So Crescent Strike works really, really well with like Imperial Decree in some capacity, but it also works very well at if opponents are playing like a token strategy or like a victor strategy. 4 is also like a good number breakpoint where it starts hitting like 3-4 cost units. So it's probably minimum trading, if not trading up. 1 is also a really nice one where it gets rid of a bunch of like random stuff, but also means you could potentially look to go in with like a low cost unit after the fact, trade off with a 2 might unit, and then look to go beyond that after the fact. I really like Crescent Strike. I think it's a very powerful effect, and the closest comparison card to it is like Void Seeker from Kaiser in red. Now, it doesn't quite have the same thing because it does the 4, but then this one says deal 1 to each other enemy unit here, so Bellows Breath pseudo effect. Not really, but it can go a lot wider than Bellows Breath, hilariously. But what it doesn't say is draw a card, which is why I think Void Seeker is slightly better. Crescent Strike is going to get a 3 out of 5 for me. It's so close to being like very powerful, but it slightly depends on the metagame that we're walking into. And without knowing that information, it's hard to be like, oh, this is a slam dunk going to be seeing like play in every single blue deck. But having this sort of effect and removal, especially in Diana moving forward, where this is actually going to be a 2 and 1 power thing if you're doing this at action speed, looks to be pretty powerful. Deadly Flourish is a 4-cost spell, which reads, deal 3 to an enemy unit. When it dies this turn, gain a gold token. So, we are spending 4, may I just add, 4 energy, because we want to trigger Jin, to just deal 3. That is so below rate when we just looked at Crescent Strike, which was punching above its weight for 3. This is so low down punching its weight damage-wise. This card is bad. I get playing it for Jin because you want the full Jin package, but you are going to only kill units that cost less than this spell's cost. But you are not going to be killing many units that people actually care about playing that this can actually target. So you're always going to have to 2-for-1 yourself. And the moment you say that out loud, card is bad. Card is bad. Card is bad. Do not play this card, ladies and gentlemen. It's not worth it. Don't do it. Fragile Jewel is a gear for 2. When you draw your second card each turn, give a friendly unit 2 might this turn. So it only triggers once per turn. You have to have draw engines going, or this isn't going to be working. And this is a gear, so you kind of want this typically to be part of your engine to give a friendly unit. So you need to be drawing 2 cards. You have to have a unit down for this to even do anything. I'm walking through way too many hoops for this to do anything. I'm not going to play a card where I have to do that much for it. There are a bunch of other cards that I can play which don't require me to do all of this, and they're just better. Yes, this hangs around because it is a gear. But why don't I just play equipment that gives 2 might? Like there's just so many other better things to do. The only saving grace for this card, and should maybe go to a 2, is because it costs 2 energy. But like, nah, no, I don't even want to pretend this. Now it is each turn, so you could potentially look to do that, but with things like Dreaming Tree and other stuff gone, I don't see a reason to build around this card. There are better things to be doing. Gustwalker is 3 for 1 and 1 blue for a 3 might unit. Well, 3 and 1 power. There we go. For a 3 might unit, Ionia Doggy. Hunt 2 when I conquer or hold, gain 2 XP. At level 3, I have +1 and ganking. So as you can see, there's a whole dog cycle going around. Blue doesn't have any XP carers. At this moment in time, it's a 1. It's a 1. You're not going to play this in Constructed. It's like not doing anything. You have no reason to be playing XP stuff. Yeah. I'm not going to move further on that. That's it. Card is not worth playing. Next card is Petal Pixie, which is a unit from Ionia Fae. For 2 and 2 might, I have +1 might for each of your units with temporary at my battlefield. So this is obviously a Lilia card more than anything else, and pushes you in a more aggressive strategy. I think Petal Pixie is a pretty strong card and should definitely be worth considering. Do I want to go further than that? No. No. Card is hard to evaluate if you don't know what the rest of the Lilia deck looks like. But it is a 2 for 2, and I would much rather play this than the Archer. So I'm going to give this a 2. Highly dependent on the Lilia deck in question, but not completely unplayable. So, yeah, we'll put it there. We'll put it there. Soul Shepherd, a unit from the Shadow Isles. For 5 cost for 3 might unit. Reads, your tokens have +1 might. Again, another card that kind of depends on Lilia. You're not going to be playing, or maybe Victor. It's interesting. I think Soul Shepherd, objectively, is like at best 1. At best a 1. Probably more 0, but at best 1. And I'm going to give it a 1 because you'll probably only play this as a 1, maybe 2 of, in like a big token deck. At the moment, we don't have a big token deck, because why would you? But Soul Shepherd at least is now an Anthem effect, which is a magic terminology for meaning Glorious Anthem, which means creatures you control get +1/+1 in magic. Soul Shepherd is an Anthem effect. Now, we don't have any gears that really do this at the moment, but Soul Shepherd's the closest thing. Now, obviously, you keep this in your base and you never let this die, but it could easily be targeted by a bunch of other stuff, a la Katarina playing 2 hidden cards. So this is not forever safe, but if token strategy becomes playable, it'll be because Soul Shepherd maybe is good? Maybe. It also depends on how good the 1 might is actually worth. Bright Fountain is a gear for 2 energy and 1 power, which reads temporary. When you play this, play a ready 3 might sprite unit token with battlefield to your base. And also as Death Knell, repeat this gear's play effect. So you get to have a sprite, and then the next turn you get another sprite. So this is guaranteed sprites every single turn. This is a Lilia card through and through. And I'm going to say this is a 4-star card. If Lilia is good, it's probably because Sprite Fountain is really good. The idea of just having continuous sprites, and the fact is it's very low energy, it's very low costed, it's very efficient, it gives you 6 might across 2 turns. Now it's 3 and 3, but it's still incredibly powerful as an engine. So I have to say, if Lilia is good, it's because Sprite Fountain's good. I love this card, the design of it, the idea of it, it's all very ethereal. 10 out of 10, honestly, design-wise. Like, honestly, have to applaud the devs here. Well done. Well done. One of my favorite cards this set is Diana Luminary. Champion unit, Diana mounts Targon for 3 and 3 might. Reads, when a showdown begins here, you may pay 1. If you do, predict. Then reveal the top card of your main deck. If it's a spell, draw it. So this is just such a cool 3 for 3. You get to pay 1, which obviously you get to do through Diana as a legend ability. And more than anything, this is just such a good way of having blue draw. Now, and it's only when a showdown begins here. Now, obviously, it will have to involve her, But this is offense and defense, meaning if you do happen to flip over like 2 cards, you pay 2, you flip over 2 because you predicted, you don't see a spell, you get rid of it, you find a spell, you go, yep, I'll keep that one, bang. Draw some cards. I think it's incredible. I think it's incredible. Diana is fantastic. It's a 4 out of 5 for me. Not the best Diana, but Diana is starting out very, very strong. So, heavily worth considering moving forward. Hui, Brooding Painter, is a champion unit, Hui, from Ionia. For 5 and 1 power for a 5 might unit. When I move, draw 1, then discard 1. Then do the following based on the discarded card's type. So we haven't got multi-types yet. I will be interested to see if we ever do get that design space. And I want to just say that before we go further, because if we ever do find a card that is like a spell gear or a gear unit, it'd be really, really cool. Regardless, you discard a spell, you draw 1. So it cycles it. If you discard a gear, you get to ready 2 runes. And if you discard a unit, you give him +3 might this turn. Hui is a build-around card. It is an engine card through and through. And if you can find a way to really abuse Hui, you're going to be really, really good. Now, with the ban of Scrap Heap, frankly, Hui does get a little bit worse, but it doesn't mean he's unplayable. The card is still very powerful, and I'm going to give Hui a 4 out of 5. He's not a slam dunk, oh my god, break the format, but he's pretty close. He's such a well-designed card. It's beautiful artwork, but it is the splash art, but I still love it. Hui's one of my favorite designed champions. So, Fire Sea is coming into this. But a 5 for 5 that does a bunch of stuff. And whenever I move, it's not a draw, or when I conquer or other things. So, there's a lot that you can do, Hui, and I hope to see him in the future. Keeper of the Masks is a unit from Ionia, which is a 2 cost for 1 might, which reads Hidden. It also has Temporary. When you play me, play 2 reflection unit tokens here. They become copies of me. So realistically, what you're doing is you're playing this to play 3. Now, if you play this somehow with also the Flurry of Feathers, you could probably find a way to do this and win all without anybody realizing. I'm just trying to figure out how you do that. I'm not sure, but I'm sure there's a way. Otherwise, it's a bit weird because you want to be able to try and do this and then also get the effects and do stuff. I can't figure out Keeper of the Masks. It doesn't really strike me as a card that's particularly exciting. But at the same time, I don't really understand it. And when you don't understand something, you give it a 2 and you move on with your life. It costs 2, I'll give it a 2. If it costs 5, I'd maybe give it a 5, but it costs 2, so it gets a 2. Lilia, Fae Fawn. Champion unit, Lilia, Ionia, Fae. It's 3 for 3. It's on rate. It has Accelerate. And when I move to a location, play a 3 might sprite unit token with Temporary there. It's wherever she's just been, so it does similar to the Sleepy Boy. Difference is every time she moves. This is fantastic. This is it, and if Lily is going to be good, it's because this is going to be part of the engine with the Sprite Fountain we've already mentioned. This card is broken, low-key broken, and Lilia frankly needed this card to be broken. It's better than the other Lilia, which you might not even play in Lilia decks, but this is fantastic. I don't understand how this is the rare, but low-key, Lilia players universally are going to be so happy with this. Fantastic card. Can make so much might in a bunch of different ways. Oh my god, it's just, you You don't even need to have the sprites actually moving around. You're just leaving so much replacement effects going around. You just go, oh, I'll play a sprite here. I'll then play Lilia here. I'll then move her backwards. Now I've got 6 might at this other one. By the way, I can now get another one discounted through my Lilia ability. Play another one into another spot. You can just make so much and basically force your opponents into spots where they want to get onto battlefields, but they have to trade so much into something that is going to disappear. The problem is, even though they know this, your opponents are going to be looking at it going, oh, how do I actually get rid of this? If you find a way of giving Lilia as well ganking or additional movement, you're just never going to get anywhere. Lilia's great. Lilia is truly going to either make or break the Lilia deck, and I love this. This is a fantastic card. It discounts your legend ability. It incentivizes movement, and yes, while it is going to be a little bit annoying in your base, I'm sure you'll find ways of making it work. Fantastic card. The next card is Smoke and Mirrors. It's a spell for 2, which has Hidden, and it can be played at action speed. Choose a unit you control and another unit you control at a different location. If at least one of them has Temporary, move each to each other's location. Draw a card. So, we were just talking about Lilia. Crazy. Smoke and Mirrors works with that blue Lilia. So Lilia could be at your base. You then move her to a place. You then use that sprite that was made and created by Lilia moving, and you now switch places. Lilia now moves. You now get another sprite now at that base. You've now got 6 might at that base. All you've done is move Lilia and then switch places. Smoke and Mirrors also cycles itself, and you've done, and that's it. And that's it. Oh, dude, this card is also very, very interesting. Now, it only really works with Temporary, but guess what? There is one other unit, one other legend that I think could really throw this above, and that's why I'm going to give it a 4, and that's LeBlanc. I think LeBlanc, with all of those random temporary units that you could have when you're conquering, you could easily like conquer in one place, make a copy of it, go into another location, Smoke and Mirrors, switch around. It's gonna go crazy. It's gonna be so nutty. There are so many ways to make this card insane, and while it is a Titana, but it's not, drawing is powerful. At worst, and we've all seen orange players do it, where they just go, oh, I'm just gonna play a card, and it just draws, and that's all I'm doing for 2. This is gonna do so much more than this, and the fact that it's also hidden, oh! Crazy card. Crazy! The next card is going to be Sprite Mother. Sprite Mother is a unit, Ionia Fae, which is 7 and 1 power for a 6 might unit, which then reads, when you play me, or at the start of your beginning phase, play a readied 3 might sprite unit token with Temporary to your base. So, she will make 1 sprite every single turn. Sprite Queen is potentially the top end game card engine for Lilia. Now, do I think you're going to play more than 2? No. You play 2 in your deck, and it's a good value thing to keep the legend going. But I just can't in good faith say it's going to go insane. Like, if it was in earlier set, like in Origins, maybe. My chat is saying that. I'm going to agree with them. Maybe. But Sprite Queen? I don't know. It just feels like it costs a bit too much. If it was 6, then, oh, well. Different story. 7 is just that thing where you have to be on the draw. And because it's a power as well, you're probably going to be playing other power things, as we've already seen for like Lilia-based decks with like Sprite Fountain. So I don't know if you'll ever be able to truly get to this on like turn 3 or turn 4 even. So I don't know, man. I think it's fine. I think it's fine and even good, because at least you play it for 7 and you at least get a readied sprite unit immediately. The problem is you don't really want to move in with her. So then you're just like, well, I just keep getting 3 might units for free, but if the game's already close to ending, it's not doing much. As such, I'm going to give Sprite Queen a 2. I want to give it higher, but I feel like I'm working really hard to actually get that benefit. So as it stands now, that's where we're going to be. Scrumpworks map is a blue gear with 2 reaction, temporary. When an opponent scores, draw a card. Why am I playing a card that only draws when my opponent does something? Don't play cards like... no, it's a 0. It's 0. It's 0. Why are you playing cards where you're relying on your opponent to do an effect? Bad. Stop. No. Do not let your opponent dictate how things are going to happen in the game. Play your game and anticipate things. Don't play cards specifically for... No. No. Bad. Bad card. On the other hand, Zilean Time Mage is a champion unit, Zilean, a Cathian. For 5 and 1 power, make a 5 is a 5 might unit, and then reads, once each turn, if you play a token unit while I'm at a battlefield, you may play that token unit as an additional copy of it instead. As such, I'll be very real. Zilean might be the Time Mage and everything. It's a slam dunk. There is just so much good about this card. This unit is just kind of cracked. Let's be real. Let's evaluate, right? LeBlanc is gonna go nutso mode on it. Because you can make so much. Like a blue LeBlanc with a Zilean, like a blue Zilean Time Mage is like just gonna go absolutely insane mode. You copy Zileans themselves in LeBlanc, you could just go infinite. Especially if your opponent is like having a bad draw. It's just game over. This also could be played in Lilia, where you're going to be able to potentially make a bunch of temporary units. Now, the only problem is he has to be at a battlefield, and then when you play it, you get another copy. Maybe good, maybe not. I'm a little bit jury out, but I am definitely saying Zilean's a very, 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 very good card, and we'll see play going into this next meta. Blue Sentinel, or Blue Buff, as we all know him, is a unit from Mount Targon for 4 and 1 power for a 4 might unit, which has Shield 2. Your hold effects for holding here trigger an additional time, so the opposite of Red Buff. And when you hold, add power at the start of your next main. Okay. So. It's an Ahri card. That's it. It's Ahri support. Oh wait, you wanted more? Oh right, a rating. 3. It's an Ahri card. What do you want from me? No, seriously, what do you want from me? It's a fine card, which lets you draw more cards, and there's some really cool shenanigans with it. But more than that, I don't know, man. It's still 4. If it didn't cost a power, it'd be slightly more playable. The shield is pretty nice, but it doesn't have tank. There's like, just like enough where I'm like, I like it, but like, you know what I mean? I'm just not getting what I need from the card for it to be like a slam dunk. It's fine, and it's good in the one deck it needs to be good in, but otherwise, I'm kind of like, eh. Our next card is Gutter Palace. Gutter Palace is a blue gear for 4. At the start of your beginning phase, if you have exactly 4 cards in your hand and exactly 4 units on the battlefield, at a battlefield, you win a game. You may also discard, exhaust, and play a 1 might blue unit token with deflect. So this is a content card. This is a card I will try and win on stream with. By the way, plug, watch my stream on Twitch. Or subscribe for YouTube videos for more. But you know, I'm just going to put the rating. It's a 1 because it's at least a cool little alternative win condition. I will try and win with this card on stream. I will not think about it more. It's a content card, a fun content card, but that's it at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. It will be funny to watch opponents, like, just go, just like freaking out. But you have to have exactly 4 units at a battlefield. That's the part which is going to be the most insufferable thing to do. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll see. We'll see. Our next card is Jin, Merciless Killer, which has Vision, which is a champion unit, Jin, Ionia. And for 4, it costs 4 and has 4 might, which has Vision. And if you spent a 4 or more to play a spell this turn, you may pay me for 1. So he works very well in the obvious Jin builds and being able to play like somewhat medium to big spells, and then you get a cheap unit. The Vision helps make him a little bit more playable, but otherwise, I struggle to see how you're going to get insane amounts of value off of this Jin, but it is just a value card. And value cards get 3, because they're not terrible, but they're also not really exciting. It's good that he at least is a 4 for 4, but realistically, he's a 4/4/4, but you're just doing it for 1. Now, I love the flavor because Jin loves 4, so that's really where I'm going with it. But I'm not doing a 4, because it doesn't deserve it, so it gets a 3. Respect me, Jin. This might be the most powerful card in the set. I'm just going to start off with that sentence alone. LeBlanc Everywhere at Once is a champion unit LeBlanc Noxus for 4 and 4 might, which is backline, importantly, and says your temporary effects at my battlefield don't trigger. Meaning that anything that you make copies of, mainly in the LeBlanc deck, but also potentially Lilia sprites, now don't die. You make a copy of something, it's not disappearing. This card can go absolutely insano mode, and because it has backline, dealing combat to it, especially if you've copied anything else, suddenly becomes an absolute nightmare for your opponent. So, as such, LeBlanc All at Once, or Everywhere at Once, is one of the most powerful cards in Riftbound for Unleash. Like, it's just that. If LeBlanc is like a very oppressive deck, I guarantee you it's in part due to this blue LeBlanc being a must kill. It is a must kill unit. And if you do not have a way of just killing it immediately, you're going to lose. So what do I think is going to be good into it? You have to play Kaiser. You have to play removal decks. You have to play like Diana, and you're going to have to play Crescent Strike. You have to find ways of killing this LeBlanc. But even so, even your temporary versions, if you conquer with it and you don't kill it immediately, you make a copy of this. And it's something that's 8 might. And now you have to kill everything. And that's a problem. Now, it only triggers at battlefields, and you've got to be there at the battlefield. But if you can find anything with like a card like, I don't know, Smoke and Mirrors? You're seeing how it all comes together, chat? You're seeing how it all works, ladies and gentlemen? That's, oh god, LeBlanc Everywhere All at Once is possibly one of the most busted things I've read, and the more you think about it, the more theory crafting you do about it, you're like, oh, it's good in this scenario, it's good in that scenario, it needs this, it needs that, you have to do this, you have to do that to deal with it. Card's crazy, card's insane, I love her, oh my god, mummy. Our first orange card is Concentrate. It's a spell costing 5. You have the ability to draw 2 cards. At level 6, this costs 2 less. And at level 11, it costs 4 less. Concentrate operates in this very weird spot because it's not actually really a card that's going to see play outside of, I feel, XP Yi. Yes, it is an orange card. So, Kha'Zix and Poppy absolutely could play this. But realistically, it's got Yi on the artwork. It's for Yi. So, is this a card that they'll want to play? Probably 1 to 2 numbers of. I believe more than that, it would be rather surprising. It's hard to say because until we actually see the success in the actual build of XPE, this is a card that could be seeing a bit of play to a lot of play. Now, the main pushback towards this card and why I'm going to give it a 2 is it's not action speed. It's not reaction speed. If it had these things, Card would be a lot more playable. But because you have to do everything in your turn, it's fine. He's fine. He's fine. Not good. So what else can I say? I wish I could like him more, but it's where we fall into. So hey ho, we'll just have to see how we get on. Anyway, that's Concentrate. Our next card is Demacian Diplomat. Is a 2-for-2 might unit from Demacia, and reads, when you play me, gain 1 XP. 3. He's not broken, but you know what he does do? Play him, you gain 1 XP, he's a 2-for-2, and I've seen a few XP decks already floating around, and he's one of those consistent cards. He always does what he sets on the tin. He doesn't even have to meet a weird condition to do it. He doesn't have to conquer like Hunt or anything else. He just does it. You will see him in a bunch of orange decks because he just works. He just does exactly what you do. You'll trade him off early, ideally getting a 1-for-1, which means you got XP, you did the thing. Solid. Super solid card. 3 out of 5. I wish I could say more, but I can't. And also, it's getting followed up by, I think, one of the strongest cards in the whole set. That is, ladies and gentlemen, Dragon Soul Sage, 5 stars. Oh my god, what an insane card. Dragon Soul Sage is a unit from Ionia. For 2 and 1 might, reads reaction, exhaust, add 1 energy. Abilities that add resources can't be reacted to. So, hello, Llanowar Elves. Hello, Elvish Mystic. Hello, ramp in Riftbound that is on a unit. And it's taken us a few sets to get here. And if it was going to be in any color, it was always going to be in body. But now that we've reached here, I'm just low-key stunned that this is what we get it with. And it's everything you could want. Why is it so powerful? It's consistent ramp. For 2, you now have Mobilize and now Dragon Soul Stage, meaning that orange decks on the play will be able to now go on turn 2 runes, now always into 5. They will have this opportunity. And the great thing about Dragon Soul Sage is the same reason why it's typically good in other trading card games. Early on, the card ramps. Really good at that. Allows you to play more expensive things earlier, faster. This is going to be played in a bunch of different orange decks. Honestly, if you want any form of acceleration and ramp, you're going to play Dragon Soul Sage. So why does it go even better? Well, yellow decks love to make people sacrifice. We all know this. Call the Weak is one of the most dominant removal spells and really helps keep yellow in a very good spot. Well, the orange just goes, cool, I ramped for like 2-3 turns. I have a Dragon Soul Sage that isn't really doing much, and I was going to throw it in to maybe try and get a throwaway random point, which is something that Dragon Soul Sage lets you do, but now you can also just leave it back if you're worried about a card of the week, and you're just like, cool, I get rid of this. It's so good. It's so good. This card is insane. You should play this. Like, if you don't understand why this is so good, it has reaction speed. You can do things in your opponent's turn. It is so versatile in so many ways. This card is 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. Cinema, you should play this card. It does everything. It does everything, and it genuinely gives Orange some extra consistency and power. So, with that, it might be one of the best cards in the whole set. Gemhand Hunter. Gemhand Hunter is a unit, Mount Targon, Yodel, for 2 and a 2 might unit, which reads, Hunt when I conquer or hold, gain 1 XP. And at level 6, I have +1 might. So, again, Orange Hunt seems consistently okay. The idea that this is going to be really rivaling Demacian Diplomat for 1 XP. Now, you do have to jump through a few hoops to get Gemhand Hunter, but if your opponent goes in and doesn't actually contest, or you actually get a hold, you get strictly more XP. So there are conditions to be met, and he's even okay early to mid-game where he's at least a 3 might unit. The problem is he falls off pretty quick, whereas the Demacian Diplomat always gives you the 1. So as such, I'm going to give him a 2. I don't think he's as good as the Demacian Diplomat, but he has the opportunity to being just as good early game, but kind of falls off mid to late game. So It's a little bit of a give and take one, but I still fully expect Gemhand Hunter to see some play. I just don't think he is as good as other 2-drops we've already seen in Orange so far, which is crazy because that's a very high bar. So nothing against the Gemhand Hunter, you're just getting rivaled for other things in your colors already. Our next card is Grim Resolve. Grim Resolve is a spell for 2, which has action speed and give a friendly unit +3 might this turn. When it wins combat this turn, gain 2 XP. I'm going to give Grim Resolve a 4. Now, the reason I come to a 4 is because, 1, it's 3 might for 2. Pretty good rate. That's just an objective pretty good rate. But it's the other line of text which pushes it from like 2 to 3 up to a 4. When it wins combat this turn, ladies and gentlemen, gain 2 XP. What this means more than anything is if you have any ability, and some units have an ability to pull off and go back on, if you have movement ability in Orange, however you want to do that, or you have the ability to charm other units and win more combat, very quick and easy to suddenly gain a bunch of XP one way or another. And this is more XP than you expect. 2 could very quickly, with a few other cards, chain into 4, even 6 if we're in real Magical Christmas land. Grim Resolve is going to be one of those cards that you're going to have to play around, and what's scary is its action speed. Your opponent could do this on your turn! Like, this is a real contender for a card for, like, aggro Orange cards. Imagine playing Dragon Soul and then always holding up this, and then because you only have 1 rune up and a Dragon Sage. Suddenly that's 2, and you could play a Grim Resolve. People will not realize this, and they will lose to you doing this. You will win games, and you are more than welcome. By the way, card's insane in Limited. Actually, all these cards I've already spoken about are great in Limited. So, Grim Resolve is a good spell. Hunter's Machete. Hunter's Machete is a gear equipment. 3 energy, and reads, equip 1 body. Okay, seems standard. And has gives +2 might and hunt. So this is Doran's Blade, but now this time it gives you hunt for costing an extra energy. Now, with this time at least we don't have to work to get the 2 might for our unit, and giving hunt is very interesting because if we have another unit that already gains hunt, we now get hunt +2 or 3 or whatever, right? It's not super important. I think this is an interesting card that gives enough utility for the decks that really want it to maybe push it into that, like, better spot, especially more lower cost throwaway units where suddenly if they get a Conquer or Hold, suddenly you gain 1 to 2 more XP than you were actually going to get originally. Is it really good? It sort of remains to be seen. As such, I'm going to give Hunter's Machete a 2. I think the card is very playable, but being playable doesn't necessarily mean good. And I don't want to give it a 3 just to be kind of like on the fence. I think the card's fine, but I don't think it's going to be a meta-warping defining thing. And if it is, it's probably because something like XP or Poppy or Kha'Zix is able to, like one of the big XP gaining decks is able to take full advantage. I don't think it'll be Poppy. I don't think really this is what Kha'Zix want. So I've now just devolved myself into XP, and if it is, it's fine. Fine. Is this what I expect they really want? Not really. So, it's 2. Card's very good though in Limited, so you should still play this in your pre-release. Kenku Initiate is a unit from Ionia, and it costs 3 for a 3 might. So, what do we say, chat? Rate. Meaning, and reads, when you play me, draw 1 if your other units have a total of 5 might or more. So, assuming your other units, meaning other things you've got, is a 2 might and a 3 might, or a random 5 might, or a 4 and a 1, like, you will get to cycle this card. Kenku Initiate is a weird one, because if at least if it used to count itself, card would be like actually very, very, very playable. Because it doesn't, it kind of wants to either see other Kenku Initiates which have already triggered, ideally, or you have to really work to make it kind of playable to even good. As such, it feels like I'm walking through so many hoops to just have this card itself cycle. We're not even like gaining card advantage. It's just play it, and then I get a 3-might unit, which is like fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everyone's happy with a 3-might unit. But if I haven't been able to do something else, I'm not really here for it. So, as such, I'm going to give Kenku Initiates a 1-star. Card's not like so bad I'm like actively telling you not to play this card. And there might be some fun build around decks, like a really big like token aggro deck in like yellow orange in the future. As it stands, I'm not interested, and I don't recommend you play this card. It's not even that great for limited, by the way. Our next card is Targaryen Visionary. That's yeah, close enough. Is a unit from Mount Targon and costs 6 for 6 might. So great. But it reads level 11. I have 4 might. So it goes to 10. It's only good if you reach that. If it's not, it's a 6 for 6 that does nothing. It doesn't gain you experience itself. It doesn't have hunt. It has nothing. It is expecting you for this to be a payoff. And we've already seen in a higher rarities, at least, because this is a common, that there are better things to do. As such, it's a 1-star card. You could work to make this good, but why would you work so hard to make this okay? I don't want you doing this. Divya, I do not want you to do this. Do not play this card. Card is not good. It's okay to think I want Magical Christmas. I love Magical Christmas Land. No, this ain't that. Our next card is Towering Combatant. For a unit from Shurima. For 4 energy, makes a 3-might unit. Which reads Shield 2 and Tank. This is one of those cards where I look at it and go, maybe it's okay if I play this explicitly in a hook deck. But why am I playing a unit that doesn't do much? It's this, and I'll be honest, this is a pre-release card. This is for your sealed deck. This is for if draft is a big format. This is what this card is for. Is it to be played now? Don't play this in Constructed. Just don't play this in Constructed. All right, it's bad. It's bad. You can maybe play as a one-off in a hook deck, but if you're having to reach that far, don't bother. It's 4 for a 3-might unit that probably will get eaten by a lot of other things, and you could be doing so many other better things. So don't. No, bad. Bad. Our next one is another creature from the jungle. I love that we're getting all of these. This is Voracious Grump, which is a unit from Freljord for 5 and 5 might. I love that the froggy is this. And has Hunt 3. And one of the top 10, I think, flavors. Oh no, it's real! The Grump is real! Anyway, with that aside, card is fair and fine. The idea of going Dragon Soul Sage turn 1 into a Grump on turn 2, sounds pretty good on the play. 5 for 5 with Hunt 3, so you're probably going to get 3 XP. This is playable, and if they don't kill it, you're going to hold, and you'll go up to 6. Level 6 immediately from, like, just going. There is actually not too bad. This card is slightly playable. Slightly playable. And if you can find a way to hold at all consistency, you get to go way above the chain. So, Grump, I'm going to give a 3. The reason I give it a 3 and nothing higher is because you do have to kind of have a little bit of Magical Christmas Land. The card is also not busted on its own. You kind of need a few things to go your way a little bit. But if you do put yourself in that situation to do it, card's solid. Card's very solid. So I'd recommend trying out Grump. I'll be trying it in my XPE decks, guarantee. And by the way, what I love about this is if we conquer and we hold, we can draw 2 cards with Poppy. I love drawing cards. So, maybe the Grump is good. We'll find out. We'll find out, chat. We'll find out. Our next card is Call to Battle. Call to Battle is a spell which, for 3, which reads, move a unit you control to a battlefield you control. Let's read that again. Move a unit you control to a battlefield you control. Okay. And then choose an opponent. They move a unit they control to the same battlefield. This is a multiplayer card. This is a multiplayer card. Do not play this in Constructed. It is a 1. This is for multiplayer. This is only for multiplayer. I'm just telling you, this is not challenge replacement. This is worse. It's a fun politics card for multiplayer. Don't need to go deeper on that. It's a fun card for that format and will not play in like big Constructed, okay? It's too situational. You have to like really work yourself into a thing where it's really good. So let's not go any further, okay? Okay? Cool. Our next card is Crowd Favorite. This is a 3 for 3 might unit, which reads, it's a unit from Noxus, which reads, Hunt. And also spend 2 XP. Buff me. So, it's, you never look at a card and go, well, I have to work just as hard as playing just a Demacian Diplomat to get something good. Gem Hand also just gets to the same sort of power as long as I get to level 6. Might-wise, before it goes above. So I'm like, okay, so early game, it's basically rivaling all my other commons, and it's not, like, crazy broken. The buff thing's kind of cool, but again, it's like... As such, I think he's a 2. I think he's a 2-star card. Like, he's good in your limited deck, and maybe some people might play it as, like, a one-off. Like, a one-off in your main deck in Constructed. But outside of that, I just don't see a realistic home that this guy's going to be seeing consistent play in. It doesn't really work in like a lot of the other decks. It doesn't work in Kha'Zix or Poppy particularly well. So I just can't in good faith say you should play this. As such, it's a 1 and we'll move on. Our next card is Disposable Order. It's a spell for 2. Which reads Reaction, nice and quick, and says choose 1. Choose up to 3 cards from an opponent's trash. Their owner recycles them, or draw a card. This is a sideboard card. This is a sideboard card. It's a very good sideboard card. It's very, very good. Very good. Very, 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 very good. Order needed this card. Why am I going so excited though and going, oh my god, this card's so good? Why are you only giving it 3 stars if it's really, because it's so situational? The decks where this is really, really good against is going to be because you have the ability to get rid of things from your opponent's discard. And just having that ability to manipulate it if you know they're a reanimated deck, if they're a combo deck, if they have any recursion, if they're playing Fizz even, or Annie, you have the ability to go, no, these are cards that I can't actually have you play again or I will lose. Alternatively, if like this game is in a pretty good spot, you've already gained control, they're not really doing much, you can just go, oh, I'm just gonna draw a card. You can just cycle it. You can just cycle it. And that is so powerful. Why is that so powerful? Because in the situations you don't need to do the first ability, you can just keep digging and go for the second one. It is everything you want this card to be and so much more. Disposable Order is one of Orange's best sideboard cards, and I will die on this hill, and I do not care. Even if it doesn't see a lot of play, it is genuinely a playable card. I love it. I love it. I love this card. I love this card. Our next card is Gentle Gem Dragon. A unit from Mount Targon, and it's a dragon for 8 and 8. When you play me, or another dragon, ready 2 runes. So, plain and simple, if dragon combo is real, it's a 4. If Dragon Combo isn't, it's a 2. Now, Dragon Combo might not be there yet. But, if we can make it, this is going to be one of those builder cards. This will be one of those cards that truly allow Dragon Combo to not only just start spewing out a bunch of them. The fact that this is a cumulative effect, meaning if you have more than one of them out with a Herald of the Scale, you're just like discounting everything and just go bleh. Now, all we need to do is have a dragon that says, when you play a dragon, draw a card. Oh, we'll be eating so good. We're not there yet. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is a card that might go from being a 2 to a 4, maybe even a 5, if we get that. But we're not there yet, so it gets a 2. All right? This is a card I will check back in on in the future. We'll see. We'll see. But I am not going to forget this card. Our next card is Imposing Challenger. Imposing Challenger is a unit from Ionia. 4/5 for 5. When I move, you may move an enemy unit here with might less than me to a different battlefield. So, interesting design philosophy. Works pretty well in Volibear. Volibear, this works pretty well in because you very much can just push things off, make sure you're going to conquer, or just make sure you're going to get a trade at minimum. Or ideally, you get rid of a 4 and a 2, you kick off the 2. Overzealous Fan, as a lot of people were potentially saying, but I don't even know if Purple will play a lot of Overzealous Fan. Maybe, we'll find out. Now suddenly means you can get rid of them because it's a move trigger, not a defense trigger, a move trigger, which is important more than anything. Keep the 4 might unit, and then you get to keep on trucking. As such, I'm gonna give it a tepid 2. The thing is, when this is good, it's really good. When it's just kind of like in a spot where it's getting outclassed, it's not great. But this is a kind of card that, with a little bit of equipment, suddenly does become kind of a hilariously annoying card to deal with. Especially if you can find a way of giving it ganking. Yes, yellow-purple ganking with the Boots of Swiftness, pushing off anything that's 7 or less might. 6 or less might. I like. Do have to build around, do have to get a bit like Magical Christmas Land, but there's something here. There's something here. Card's insane though in limited. Just insane. Repulse is a spell for 1 and 1 power. Reaction speed. Choose a friendly unit at a battlefield. Counter an enemy spell or ability that chooses it and no other friendly unit. Orange has counter magic. Orange has counter... What are they thinking? What are they thinking? This is just doing everything and anything that every orange deck wishes they could have had for the last 2 things. This also opens up a vast majority of constricted angles. No longer is orange forced to be in this weird spot where half the time you feel like you have to just play certain effects. Lucian now has the ability to truly protect their things outside of yellow doing Colder Week. But it also is one of those effects where it just allows so many more like orange-based decks to not feel so susceptible to removal. This is phenomenal. Truly a game-changing card, and it will be one of those cards that you'll see like a 1 of Tekov will be played in the main deck, and then 2 will be in the sideboard. Simply because if they have it, you might lose. So you have to now play the game against your orange opponent. Do they have the repulse? This is great for Yi, this is great for Lucian, this is also great for Volibear, or even Aurora decks if they want to play it. Like, there is just so much that this card offers in so many other orange decks. Truly, the only way this could have been even better is you could just counter a spell, but the fact that it does specify enemy does make it maybe a little bit worse, but like, we're talking like 1.5% point. You're almost never going to counter at least your own thing. But you can counter any ability, just anything. Anything that chooses the unit and not a bunch of friendly units. So you can't stop Watcher. But otherwise, this card does exactly what you want it to do. So 5 out of 5. Repulse is great. Just play this. Consider whenever you build an orange deck, Repulse. And it should probably be seeing some play in your decks. And if it doesn't work in the meta, I'm wrong. And this will be a funny clip. Our next card is a card which has the top 5 in my favorite artwork from Unleashed. Anyway, Stare Down is a spell for 2 energy, which reads, choose a friendly unit and a battlefield. Move all enemy units at that battlefield with less might other than the chosen unit to their base. Gain 1 XP. So, it's an interesting one. It's giving orange the ability to do movement. It also is basically saying, hey, I want to fight. Which, weirdly enough, Stare Down works pretty well if you want to combo it with Grim Resolve, because you could easily move in, win combat somewhere else, choose a friendly unit and the other battlefield, move the unit now across, get rid of all the other friendly units that your opponent, all of the enemy units with less might other than the chosen unit, and then you do that. Wait, am I actually getting that right? I think I'm actually getting this wrong. Choose a friendly unit and a battlefield. Move all enemy units that at that battlefield with less might than the chosen. Yeah, no. Because you have to be at your base. You do have to be at your base. So it's actually not a great one for the situation I just unveiled. I still think Stare Down's an interesting card. It's an ability to very much like conquer a battlefield as and when you need it. And because it pushes all of the enemy units away, it very much at least gets you into the spot where you can now probably look to now conquer that battlefield. Not even necessarily with the chosen unit, but you at least have the opportunity. What's also interesting is if you've got certain breakpoints, you could be like, actually, I want to be able to kill 2 of their 3 might units. But they've got like 2 2-might units. So you go, okay, I'm going to choose my 3-might units, get rid of their 2s, and then use my 8-might unit just to take conquer and get a 2-for-1, right? Like, I don't want to trade with my units. I want to get an advantageous attack and force them to do something else. Regardless, this also gains 1 XP. Stare Down's an interesting card. I'm going to give it a 3. I think there is definitely playability to it. It's just going to be finding the right shell for it, finding the right opportunity. This might be one of those cards in time that goes down to a 2, but I don't think realistically it's going to go any lower than that. Simply offering the ability to just shove units off because you play an Elder Dragon, if we'll talk about him in a bit, but then you can push just everything off, and then you don't have to worry about it. You can just fully take over. So, hey, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Our next card is Willy Newtfish, which is one of the cutest boy. Oh, he's so cute. And is a unit from Bilgewater for 4 energy and 4 might. If you've gained XP this turn, I have +1 might and ganking. So Willy is an interesting one because obviously you want to be able to play him and hopefully hold. If you're able to hold with another unit with Hunt, then he's going to be 5 and can now smash across. I want to be able to say we can play him. The problem is, it's a little situational. I'm going to sadly have to give him only 4. 1 star. Reason being, he's 4 for 4, so he's hitting rate. The problem is, I have to have other ways of making the XP, and and the Newtfish himself does not do that. As such, it's very situational when it will actually work out for me. Sometimes it's going to be great. More of a limited card, not really a constructed card. So sadly, we're not expecting to see him see much play. Our next card is the Blood Rose. The Blood Rose is a gear for 1 energy. When you play a unit, you may pay 1 and gain 1 XP. So this is an engine card for all of our XP decks. As well as it also reads, spend 3, exhaust it, and ready a unit. Now, thankfully, we don't actually have to sacrifice the Blood Rose, and it is a communicative effect. The problem is we always have to pay 1 energy. So the idea is it's an engine, but it's an engine we have to always work for. It's not a free. It's not like we play this card and now we have this passive way of always gaining XP. So, as such, early game, it's actually not that good. That's when you're going to want to actually spend your energy as and when you need it. Now, obviously, a card like the Dragon Soul Sage does make this a little bit free. In a sense. But otherwise, it's kind of expensive to do a lot. As such, I'm going to give it 3 stars. If we can find a way of really looping it into our sequencing every single turn, this card could be a 3, like a 4 or a 5. But at the moment, it's like, we always have to work for it. If we didn't have to pay for it, by the way, this would be like a 5-star card. This would be insane, especially imagining playing more than one. The problem is, playing more than one means now I have to pay 2 to 3 energy every turn I play a unit, because I want to get the value to gain the XP, which then would mean I could exhaust it to then ready a unit. But the problem is, I've spent 3 energy just to do that. So as such, I'm going to give it 3. I think it seems fine, but it's not a card that I could even see slotting directly into a deck. And ultimately, it might even go down to a 2 after the first week. So I'm going to give it 3 with the hopes that it stays there and see some play, but it might go down to it very quick. Clash of Giants is a spell for 6 and 2 power, which reads choose 2 units. They deal damage equal to their might to each other. So the obvious thing is this is worse challenge. However, what this also is challenge 2 of your opponent's creatures. So, in a good spot, you're going to kill 2 of your opponent's units and feel pretty good about yourself. Sometimes you're just going to have to use this as a very, very, very expensive challenge. Problem is, any time, and I've said this a few times before, any opportunity that you give to your opponent to dictate what is happening and everything, you're taking the agency and the ability of choice away from you and going through onto them to hope that you're going to get some good stuff. It's not a good spot. So, it's a sideboard card. And it's a situational sideboard card. It's one of those cards where, in the right metagame, this is probably going to see a 1-off, 2-off play, and it will probably float around for a while. Other times, it barely even gets to see any play. So, I do think the power cost is low-key hurting this, and I also think the energy cost is sort of hurting this. This feels like it's very much the first version of this sort of effect, and they're being very... The designers are choosing to be concerned, and they don't want to give an overly powerful effect just there and for free. So they want to rein the power in a little bit. But for that exact reason, I'm going to give this a 1. It's one of those cards where we've already seen that sometimes it could be really good. Sometimes you're going to pay 6 and 2 power, and you're going to kill a 4 might unit and a 4 might unit. Maybe it's only going to kill a 5 might unit, and that's it. Which means you're spending so much to kill a unit. Now, obviously, you could deal the damage and then obviously choose to go in onto another unit at a battlefield. But there's a lot of things where it's just, I'm walking through so many hoops. I don't like walking through hoops. So I'm going to have to give it that. Determined Sentry is a unit from Battle City, and he's a Yordle for 1 and 1 might. Reads, I can't move to base. Cool idea. The circumstance where you get to play 2 of these on turn 1, and then you get to, on turn 2, you gain 2 points, and then your hope is that your opponent didn't do anything on their turn 1, so then you get 4 points. When Magical Christmas Land happens, card's sick. And if the format ever does slow up, it'll be interesting to see if like a hyper aggressive orange aggro deck would be the thing to do. As it stands though, yeah, that's probably not happening. I don't really see a good world where Sentry is going to be it. And I can't even really see a world where you'd want to play this. As such, it's 1. Our next card is Irresistible Feyfolk. It's a unit from Ionia, and it's Fey. For 2 energy and 1 might, which reads, When I move to a battlefield, you may move an enemy unit to that battlefield. So what this does is you could go in with a big unit, and then you could have your random little unit, and then you can trade. You can kill with this. Now, you are having to use the Fey Folk to kind of get the movement, but you can. You absolutely can. What this also is interesting, if we ever get into a heavy meta where Dragon Soul Sage is kind of controlling the meta, Irresistible Fey Folk now allows you to kill other opponents' Dragon Soul Sage. So it gets into a weird metagame. Do I think the Fey Folk is particularly good? No, not really. I think it's a 2. It's got a very cool card design. It's very much luring others to come in and interact with it. But realistically, no. It is a May effect, so you don't actually have to do this if you choose not to, but you're playing for this sort of effect. So it might even be a 1, honestly speaking. Now, if we ever get something like Poison or Death Touch into Riftbound, this card would be really good. But it's just... having this effect on a unit means your opponent now knows that this is what's going to happen. So if they've got any combat tricks, they're just going to hold it, wait for it, and then kind of probably blow you out. I'm not a fan. Master Yi, Tempered, is a champion unit Master Yi from Ionia, which is 4/4/4, which has Hunt 2 and also level 6. I have Deflect and Ganking. So this is the early one. You either play 2 versions of Yi as your chosen champion in XP Yi. This one, if you want to be heavy early game centric. The other one, the green one, which we showed already in my other video, is going to very much push it into that hyper late game. I think this one's slightly better. I'm going to give this a 3. Hunt 2, no power cost, very easy, allows you to get to 6, which means it has deflecting and ganking. Could absolutely equal this to be doing a lot more. But it does kind of come down to how good the Yi decks are. I don't know. Nobody truly knows how good they're going to be. They might be okay. I think that's realistically where they're going to be. And the 3 out of 5, that's an okay card. Is it good? Eh. Is it fun? Yeah. So that's where I put Yi. Nidalee Catform is a champion unit. Nidalee, Icathiel, Extal? Etal cat. Oh god. Struggled there. For 3 energy and 1 power for a 4 might unit, which reads Ambush. And when I win combat, draw 1 card. So, Nidalee, pretty solid. Pretty good. Why? Ambush early on with something like Rengar to really throw it over the top to give your units all the stuff that you need to. Ishtar, thank you, Twitch chat. Thank you, Wizard. You are the saviors from YouTube chat. From YouTube comment section. I feel like Nidalee is going to be like a premier card for Rengar. I don't know if it's going to be seeing a whole lot of play in other decks, truthfully speaking, but I think Nidalee is good enough where we will be seeing some amount of play. Is it going to be a meta definer? Probably not. Is it orange draw? Absolutely. So, it gets 3 stars. It's above rate. You can play this on the draw on turn 1. If you get to win a combat, which means you're the only one remaining, and you do have to do combat, so it's a little bit situational, but she's solid. She's very solid. Our next card is Nyla, Joyful Aztec. Is a champion unit, Nyla, from Kathkan and a Demon. So, for 3 and 1 power for 4 might, which has Accelerate and Ganking, and when I move, gain 1 XP. So this is going to be the backbone, in my opinion, of a lot of orange XP decks. Reason being is Accelerate, Ganking. Every time she moves, she just brings joy and gains experience. As such, Nyla is going to basically be the card where if XP is a real thing, it's probably because she's really, really good. And if it's not, it's because, well, she was really good, but not good enough. And I don't think that's going to be a fault on this card. It's doing so much work that you need it to do. It's 3 for a 4 might unit, so it's already above rate. And it just does a lot of what you need it to do. Every time you move, that means if you've got one battlefield you're holding on, you can just flicker it in and out if you have the ability to do that. She's doing a lot. I love her. So hopefully it's good enough. Poppy. Paragon is a champion unit, Poppy, Demacian, Yordle, for 5 and 5 might, which reads Deflect, and when you play me, if an opponent's score is within 3 victory points, ready me and gain 3 XP. So, this is an interesting one, right? This is one of these situational cards where if you want to get the full value, you have to wait for your opponent to be ahead. So, having them as a chosen champion makes them really weird. Otherwise, it's just a 5 for 5 with Deflect, which is like on rate, but not going to be anything too crazy. Doesn't necessarily win a lot of combats, but it's solid. It's a solid card. So, I've gone back and forth on my opinions on Poppy. I don't know if she's necessarily going to be the card you're going to play as your chosen champion. So as such, I'm going to just give her 3 stars. Poppy's fine, but when she's really good is when your opponent's probably in a good spot or maybe even ahead. And then you're trying to use this as a catch-up way. Having a ready unit and gaining 3 XP, pretty good because that will also allow you to draw another card through your Poppy legend. But if you're not in that spot, she's just fine. As such, 3. Our next card is Arkanoid Horror. Is a unit from the Shadow Isle Spirit, and is 6 for 1 power and 6 might, which reads Hunt 2. I can be played to an occupied battlefield if an enemy unit is alone there. And also reads, friendly units can be played to an occupied battlefield if an enemy unit alone there. Very much in that whole, like, will attack and whatever, and can also do that themselves. I want to like this card a lot more. Problem is, it's just missing something that I'm not sure what it is, but it's just not quite good enough to probably see much of any play. I think the best unit I can realistically put it in, make a comparison to, is Snapvine. Snapvine was a card where I looked at it and I assumed this was going to see a lot more play. And then as the metagame's gone on, Snapvine's seen close to no play. And I think, honestly, the Horror is probably in that same sort of spot. So I'm not going to actually give it more than that. As such, it's a 2. It's fine. Cool even. But it's probably not going to see any play. That's just a sad reality. Unless its secondary effect of the friendly units actually looks to be really good, especially in a combo with something like Rengar, maybe. It'll have to be seen, but it's an interesting card. Our next card is the Elder Dragon. So this is gonna warp the metagame. If you saw when Aurora came out, it changed everything. But let's read the card. Elder Dragon is a unit Demacia Dragon, which is 12 and 4 power for a 10 might unit, which also reads, any amount of damage is enough to kill enemy units, which also has, when you play me, choose up to 1 enemy unit at each location, deal 1 to them. So this is insane in multiplayer formats. This is also incredibly powerful when you look to be playing this in one-on-one, specifically with Aurora. It's unlikely going to see much play out of being like a one-of in like any other orange deck, because guess what? If you do get to play this in random orange deck, such as Kha'Zix, Rengar, Master Yi, or even Sivir and beyond, maybe this is good. Do I realistically think you should? No. But if you ever happen to bink it, you're probably winning the game. Elder Dragon is a win game card, and we haven't really seen many win game units on their own. As such, Elder Dragon is very, very strong. Now, he doesn't have any protection effect himself, meaning that if any enemies are playing something like Vengeance or Hidden Blades, if he ever does go to a battlefield, it's very easy to remove him, even still. But because of recursion and everything else that we currently have in the game, Elder Dragon is going to be an absolute powerhouse, and expect your Aurora players to be hopefully going spin the wheel, find Elder, eat you, and probably put you in spots where you're not sure what you do. So, he gets a 5. Our next card is Kha'Zix's Evolving Hunter, which is a champion unit, Kha'Zix the Void, for 5 and 1 power for a 5 might unit, which has Hunt and reads, when I attack, you may spend 3 XP to deal damage equal to my might to an enemy unit. I'm going to give Kha'Zix a 3. I don't think it's as good as Yone, which is half of what my concern is here. Yone doesn't require the XP to actually get it. Now, Kha'Zix does have the ability to get a bunch of XP in a wide variety of ways. The problem is, if you do this, suddenly it's very face up to your opponent that Kha'Zix is going to be trying to do this. So, it at least is when they attack, meaning that your opponents can't realistically stop that. But it is also my might to a friendly unit here. So if your opponents are able to do anything to counteract that, suddenly it's not quite the same. I think Yone is just a strictly better card, and I think Kha'Zix is just a little too flimsy and very face up when you play him. The way that I would at least try to make him better is if you have a way of always making him ready or attacking immediately with like an accelerate effect. But as it stands, I don't think Kha'Zix realistically Evolving Hunter will see a lot of play. I'll give him a 3. He's probably a fine one-off to play in Kha'Zix himself, but beyond that, I'm not really sure. Our final orange card is going to be Rengar Trophy Hunter, a champion unit, Rengar Ishtal, and he's a cat. He is a cat. For 5 and 1 power, it's a 6 might unit, which reads Ambush, and also reads, I can be played to a battlefield where there are enemy units. So you don't even have to have units there. So anytime he attacks in, realistically you're playing this in the Rengar decks themselves, so it's going to be a 7 might unit that you can play at any time to now conquer on your enemy's turn. If they've come in and played some spells, you could very much slam in a Rengar, and then suddenly you've got a bunch of power. Now, will Rengar decks very much play on their opponent's turn sometimes? Yes. But do I think Rengar Trophy Hunter is good? He's like actually 4. He's a very solid card. It's not going to be meta warping, but this is one of the more powerful things you can do. Specifically because he reads, I can be played to a battlefield where there are enemy units, and we know that he can actually absolutely abuse this fact because of Ambush. If it didn't have Ambush and this effect, the card would be, well, it wouldn't be this card. But together, this is fantastic. It offers your opponent, especially if they wanted to just take a random trade, or they played some stuff, they accelerated a unit out, they're trying to do like Red Kaiser sort of things, and then you just slam in a Rengar and they go, oh god, okay, and then you get a point, and then you get a point for holding, and then Rengar is just now a 6 might unit that now they have to deal with at some point. I love Rengar. I think he's a very solid card, and hopefully we'll see